What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's fight at 160 pounds between the American Olympian Terrell Gausha and the young rising prospect Elijah Garcia. Guys, before we continue, I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please hit subscribe, like this video, as well as hit the bell notification button so you could be notified every time I put something out that's new. Thank you. All right, guys, this is an interesting matchup on the undercard of Sebastian Fundora and Cordell Booker. What better word could you say than crossroads for both guys? You got Terrell Gausha, who's an American Olympian. He's fought for world titles before. He's one of these guys that's skilled. He could hang in there with the best of them. Every time he's had an opportunity to take that next step, he hasn't quite been able to do that. But he's a slick, orthodox fighter from Cleveland, Ohio, 37 years old, now or never, fighting a 21-year-old young, hungry, strong southpaw in Elijah Garcia. The narrative going into this fight, guys, both men are coming off of losses. This is definitely a fight in which both guys need a victory. With Gausha, he talks about he needs an emphatic victory to put himself in another big fight opportunity. And with Garcia, the young 21-year-old says he just wants to get back to his winning ways. Now, if you look at the rankings, it's interesting. One guy is ranked at super middleweight, which he's never fought at 168. But because Garcia missed weight in his last fight against Kyron Davis, the way the algorithm on BoxRec works, it says, well, you missed weight at 160, we're going to rank you at 168. And with Gausha, this guy's been known to put his hand up to fight anyone. We've seen Gausha fight in big fights before, dating all the way back when he fought Erislandy Lara, he's fought Erickson Lubin, Tim Tszyu. So this weight class of 160 isn't necessarily all too foreign to him, but it's not his natural weight class. This fight is a middleweight fight. I want to highlight that. Moving forward in this video, we're going to look at what both guys have been up to. We're going to talk a little bit about their most recent wins, their most recent losses, how they go about their business, what's at stake for each fighter. Also, stay tuned to the end of this video. We're going to be telling you where to put your money on. I'm going to be talking about Las Vegas odds, where the bettors are putting their money on, and like always, I'm going to ask you for your prediction as well. Before we go any further, I want to go over a little bit about what this fight means to Terrell Gausha and what to expect from Garcia. Guys, Terrell Gausha thinks Elijah Garcia has bitten off more than he can chew. On a virtual press conference Tuesday for the Seb Fundora-Cordell Booker fight on March 22nd, the 37-year-old Gausha spoke confidently about his upcoming fight with Garcia, 21. Gausha has fought several champions in and around 154 pounds, usually losing close decisions. Most recently, Gausha lost a wide unanimous decision to Carlos Adames, who retained his WBC middleweight title on February 22nd with a draw against Hamza Shiraz in Riyadh. Guys, we streamed that fight. I feel Adames won that fight fair and square. But anyway, I digress. I quote, "I'll fight anybody," Gausha said. "I just love to fight." Asked whether he thought Garcia made a mistake by lining up a fight with him, Gausha said, "I definitely do. I respect him taking the fight, but he made a mistake taking this fight. But I got to take my hat off to him because he's like me. We're fighters. We like to fight the best. I've been preparing to give the fans a good fight, and hopefully he's been doing the same." Though Gausha, 24-4-1 with 12 knockouts, tends to fall short against the elite, he has fought to a draw against Austin Trout and close decision losses to Erislandy Lara and Tim Tszyu, the latter of whom he knocked down. We last saw the prospect Garcia in his last fight against Kyron Davis taking his first loss via close split decision. Gausha rejected the tag of him being a gatekeeper and asserts that fighting the southpaw Garcia is nothing new to him, citing his experience against southpaws Lara, Trout, and Lubin. Gausha also gave Garcia credit for his pressure-first style. "I've been training really hard to keep up with his pace." Gausha, with a win over Garcia, thinks that this will put him in good standings in the middleweight division, and it will also give him opportunity for another big fight. "I feel like it'll put me on a good step for a world title as well. Obviously, I still want to fight people like Lara. I want some redemption, but my job is to worry about Elijah Garcia first, and then we get the big fights after this. Guys, when I look at this matchup, like I said, 21-year-old prospect Elijah Garcia, a lot of hype on him. It's still there. He had one close split decision loss. He came in overweight. He has a fan-friendly style. He's a big southpaw, has pop in his hands, doesn't take a back step. Super fun to watch. And with Gausha, this is a classy fighter, seasoned veteran, been through it. He's seen all the styles. I want to take a closer look at what Elijah Garcia has been up to in his career. Guys, Garcia is 16-1 with 13 knockouts. He carries into the ring an 81% career knockout to win ratio. He has fought a career 64 total rounds in the Americans, a 21-year-old southpaw standing at 6 feet tall with a 71-inch reach. We last saw him fight Kyron Davis, 18-3, lost a split decision. Resendez, 14-1, knockout in the 8th. Zambrano, 15-1, UD in the 10th. Vidal, 16-0, knockout in the 4th. Stewart, 8-1, knockout in the 8th. So there's nothing tricky or fancy about Elijah Garcia, what he wants to do. He wants to control that center. He wants to use his lead foot to set up his range, and he wants to pressure his opponents into melting in which he can land those big shots. Like I said earlier, he's really fun to watch. At 21 years old in this division, he has a lot of time to grow, a lot of time to mature, and a lot of time to polish up his skills. This is a step up. Terrell Gausha is no slouch. He's not an easy win. So when you look at the odds, which we'll cover here in a second, I'm actually a little bit kind of surprised they are what they are. Before we get there, let's first take a closer look at Gausha and what he's been up to. Guys, Terrell Gausha is 24-4 with 12 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 50% career knockout to win ratio and has fought a career 189 pro rounds. The American's 37 years old, and the Orthodox fighter stands at 5'10" with a 73.5-inch reach. We last saw him fight Carlos Adames, 23-1, UD in the 12th. Leatherwood, 23-8, won a majority decision in the 8th. Lynch, 12-1, knockout in the 9th. Tim Tszyu, 20-0, lost the decision. Jamonte Clark, 15-1, knockout in the 2nd. The thing about Terrell Gausha, he could survive in a fight. There's a reason why he's never been knocked out. All of his losses are by decisions. That is just a cheers and a tip to the hat about how smart he is in the ring. He figures his opponents out, and it's just sometimes at the highest level, he doesn't always have the firepower and the arsenal to get these victories, but he's always in the fight. That's why I think he's gonna pose some interesting puzzles for the 21-year-old prospect. Now, we know about mentality and how psychology is everything in this sport. Even though Gausha has 4 losses, he is a former Olympian. He's fought for world titles before. So at 37 years old, nothing's going to rattle a 37-year-old prize fighter. With Garcia, we don't know how he comes back from a loss. We've never seen him lose before, and this will be his first fight having tasted defeat. So that's something to think about in regards to having to predict a performance. If you ask Las Vegas and you ask the bettors where their money's at, they're leaning on the young 21-year-old prospect, and here's how. Guys, the betting app I use down here in Australia is called Sportsbet. At the moment, they're not allowing any prop bets on this fight. They're only allowing bettors to take the money line. And as it sits, Elijah Garcia is a $1.14 favorite, meaning if you put $100 on Elijah to win at any cost, you only get 14 back. If you pick the draw, it's 21-1, and they have Terrell Gausha, the seasoned veteran, as a 650-1 underdog, meaning $100 gets you $650 back. Now, when you look at both guys coming off of losses, when you look at the knockout artist prospect Garcia and the veteran Gausha, I was predicting that maybe this was a more 3-1 fight, 4-1 fight. 650 does seem a little bit disrespectful for Gausha, but obviously the bettors and the experts are thinking that the arsenal, the firepower, the pressure, and the stamina and the tempo of Garcia is going to be too much for the 37-year-old. This is not a 37-year-old man's sport. We know it's a young man's sport. So with that being said, here's my prediction. I expect Gausha to be tough. I expect him to give Garcia everything he can handle. I don't know how much energy Gausha is going to have in the mid to late rounds. I don't know how much excitement he still has to wanting to be a world champion, considering he's been in so many close fights at the top to become one, and he's fallen short. That does something to a guy. With Garcia, you'd have to think this kid is a fighter through and through. He lost one fight, a close split decision. You're going to have to think his whole fight camp, he's going to want to prove the naysayers wrong. He's going to want to come in on weight. He's going to first want to beat the scales. He does that. That's one victory. And then I feel he's going to want to be his polished best against Gausha. Give him an opportunity to put a former world title contender on his resume and tell people he beat also an Olympian. I'm picking the young 21-year-old prospect. It's hard to bet against the southpaw right now with where you see that career trajectory going, the power he has in his hands, the style that Gausha is going to show him. Gausha's not going to pressure him, so you feel Garcia is going to be patient and not have to worry about anything coming back his way. I think it's just going to come down to how much Gausha could take and how long he could avoid the power of Garcia. I'm picking him to win. In the comment section below, who do you got, the young 21-year-old or the 37-year-old veteran, and how will they win? Leave all that below. Also, if you haven't seen the prediction video for the main event here in Sydney, Australia this weekend, a day before this card between George Kambosos and Jake Wiley, stay tuned to the end of the video because that's coming up right now.